we're taking the biggest risk we ever have for a tour of this size.
You're away from your family and your friends and your home and your bed for 21 days.
Instead of bitching and complaining about how everyone's doing it wrong, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is and do it right.
Oh! It's not a wrestling trip without some sort of mishap or something happening.
There's no replacement for wrestling in front of an audience.
Danny tore his pectoral muscle.
I went and met with the doctor, and it looks very serious.
He still tried to wrestle a little bit afterwards, but I don't think that was doing him any favors.
By day 21 of this tour, I will have ripped that arm off and ate it.
Who's the man now?
The man with arms of steel, in S with sex appeal. He's jacked, he's fanny packed. He's Hotshot Danny Duggan. I am Danny Warren. I perform as Hotshot Danny Duggan when I am donning the tights and wrestling in the ring that's behind me. When I'm not doing that, I am running Canadian Wrestling's Elite. It's my baby. It got to the point where I just said, you know what, instead of, bitching and complaining about how everyone's doing it wrong, I'm gonna put my money where my mouth is and do it right. This is gonna be our third 21 show tour. This is gonna be the furthest in terms of distance, so biggest in terms of miles covered, biggest overall in terms of the awareness on the tour. I don't want to jump ahead of myself, but I think we're gonna see some of our best crowds in some of these markets. Wouldn't be a wrestling tour without everything going wrong on day one. But we had some vehicle troubles today. We don't have our normal ring truck that we use, so we rented a ring truck. We emphasized that we needed to pull a trailer. Somehow that got lost in communication to the truck rental company. The guys picked up a truck, went to get the trailer, no way to attach it. So they called around and they bailed us out and they found a truck somehow, some way when they told us there wasn't one, because we didn't know how the heck we were getting the ring out here.
Oh, day 1 of 21.
Unfortunately, I won't be at the show tomorrow night because I have to go and meet a surgeon for this bad boy right here. Unfortunately, the guys are going to go on the road without me to the next town, and I'm going to hope and pray that I can get there, but there's a good chance I can't, and if not, I'll jump ahead a day and meet up with them down the road.
I'll take credit for injuring Danny. Yeah, sure. Let's, screw him. You know what I mean? What does he know? What does he do?
When I come in with a clothesline with his arm, I'm throwing it full tilt, and he was out of position, and my chest, shoulder, and bicep connected right on the head of his shoulder head. And he's a 350-pound boy, so me colliding with that didn't work out best for me. He's doing fine. Me, not so much.
Next thing you know, Danny's got a torn pec.
I'm scheduled for an MRI tomorrow and to meet with the surgeon, because if it is torn, they're gonna have to fix it up pretty quickly. Being the boss, I don't have to pay myself to wrestle. If I have to find somebody else to come in and fill my spot for 21 dates, that's 21 paydays I'm giving up to go on top of my overhead already for the tour. So I can suck it up and find a way to work around it, or I can pay the price, literally, and get somebody else to come in and do it for me. We're off to a rough start, but hopefully that means it's smooth sailings from here. Luckily, all our talent's in, and that's usually the first frustration on a tour, is usually somebody doesn't get across the border due to some issue with customs.
I've been wrestling almost 21 years.
Tornado! Tony Cosina!
Canada needs its own national, worldwide professional wrestling organization. And this is it, so come on. Gentlemen in suits.
As far as character, I guess I'm just a loudmouth, guy that likes to run his mouth. Being the Canadian Crusher kind of maybe entails that I'm a big guy that hurts people.
I don't suck, Ashley. Your haircut sucks.
We're traveling, I don't want to say freak show, but I mean, there's some weird guys on the crew sometimes.
Mathematics is amazing. And yet today, it's always when people find out someone's a math major or a math teacher, they say, I hate math. I sucked at math. And math is beautiful.
Tyler Duncan!
You got a lot of young guys who come up here and think that 21 days of wrestling sounds awesome, and it is awesome, as long as you're ready for it, because it's a big commitment to make. You're away from your family and your friends and your home and your bed for 21 days.
If anything, there's one young guy on the trip who has some years beneath everybody in terms of wrestling and just age, so there might be some personality clashes there, but if he can stay humble and keep his attitude in check, he'll be okay. If not, it'll be a rough 3 weeks for him.
Coming here was a little bit of a struggle, I guess you could say. I mean, I've had a little bit of bumps in the road. I've even went to a point where my career was ruined. I became a drunk, so I got kicked out. and I had to fight for it back. I know a couple guys here already, like Brian Logan. He's from my neck of the woods, and he's like, hey man, if you want to learn something, get on this tour with me. You come up here, it's really beautiful and takes your mind off everything, and then you get cold and you get lost in the snow for 2 hours going to the store because you make a wrong turn. Mixed emotions.
I just want to thank you for being dumb enough to come and spend 21 days in the Canadian winter here for this tour. So we kind of refined the crew, and we've got guys that are more professional-minded on this one. So if you're here, it's because we believe you can do that. Everyone knows the economics of independent wrestling. There's not a lot of big money in it. So we all got to put in together, make sure these shows go up, and let's have a good tour, guys. This place will be full. I imagine we'll have about 125, 150 people for this place.
General admission tickets are $17 in advance, $20 at the door, and VIP are $22 in advance, $25 at the door.
Pro wrestling day one.
Hi, dudes. Hi. What's up?
We've got a huge card for you tonight.
By day 21 of this tour, I will have ripped that arm off and ate it. This is my debut up here for CWE, and looking forward to it. We're going to show a little bit of these Canadians what Southern style really means up here in the Great White North. Are you what Canada's got?
I knew he'd be a great fit up here, especially going into small town Canada and the rural markets.
It looked like a struggle, you know, but you got him.
Been there,
Everything okay? That was great. Good. How much did I kill you guys in those left-handed punches? It looked kind of silly to the audience if the evil bad guys were beating up the guy who's in full health and much larger and stronger than I am when I'm the injured duck, so to speak. So I couldn't have asked for 2 better opponents. Probably in an hour I'm going to be in a lot of pain, and that's not because of them. That's just from me getting in there and moving it around when it should be stationary and probably in a sling. But they took care of me. We wrestled for probably 20, 30 minutes. They didn't touch me, and they looked like they killed me. So.
I had my first match when I was 15 years old.
I can do this, not a problem. They're old, I'm fast, I'm gonna nail a bunch of spots. Easy, I got this, 1, 2, 3.
As soon as I had that first match, it was go time. It was my priority to be a professional wrestler. Wherever I was wrestling, I was trying to do my best as if I were the promoter myself to get people in the door and spread word and sell tickets and do my part. But it seemed like I was more ambitious to promoting the brands I was working for than the promoters themselves. So it got a little frustrating to be putting forth the work and it not be appreciated. When the idea came to start running CWE, I had been wrestling actively for 5 years across North America.
My dream as a promoter is to make CWE Canada's national wrestling brand. The rush is the challenge because nobody else is doing what we're doing, so we're kind of breaking new ground.
Wrestling is very much a hierarchy. It's always been that way. It's always going to be that way. So even though I've been around for 7 years, if I get in the car with AJ and Danny, who are both closer to that 15-year mark, 16-year mark, I'm sitting in the back seat.
All right, how we doing this?
This my trunk here. This bag can go in the back seat, really.
Okay.
It doesn't matter how big I get. It doesn't matter how tall I am.
You know, he really appreciates when I put him in the backseat of a car, especially when he's been deadlifting all day and squatting heavy weights and goes and takes a bunch of bumps on the show. I know he really, truly, deeply appreciates me putting him in the back of the car like that. So I do it for him more than anything.
So that sometimes is harder than the wrestling, honestly, to be sitting in the back seat for an 8-hour drive of Danny's little 2-door car. And I have to sit with AJ, who's a big man himself, taking up a lot of space in the front seat. My knees are crunched up and my shoulders are in tight. And when I get out, I feel like death.
Fuck. This sucks.
What's tougher, a cold Canadian winter like that or wrestling?
Winter.
I'm going back in.
Night boy extraordinaire. Where are we going? We're going straight. Well, it's cold as balls out here. Minus 40 with the wind chill. All right. All right, winter tour, here we come.
Everybody knows who Jake the Snake Roberts is. So in terms of drawing the biggest crowd possible, you need star power. And having somebody like Jake the Snake Roberts works in your benefit across the board because A, it's gonna sell you more tickets, it's gonna get more people in the door, which brings more eyes on your talent that can deliver in the ring and then hopefully convert them to fans for the long haul when there isn't somebody the caliber of Jake Roberts on the marquee. With Jake, his job's easy. He's gotta sit there and meet fans and take pictures.
What's your name, Susan? Barbara? Diane.
Having someone like Jake Roberts, who's one of the best draws in the history of professional wrestling, in our locker room, able to communicate to our talent, you can do this way or this a little bit differently and get more out of it. That's what we need in the minds of our talent when they're putting their matches together and going out there night after night and trying to build the audience for us.
You know, it does remind me of my beginnings. Maybe that's what I enjoy. I enjoy it a lot, you know, and it was in Canada too. And I certainly traveled all over Alberta and Saskatchewan. Better than a snake.
This tour specifically is a little bit different than the tours we've been running for the last year or two, in the sense that in the tours past, we've had a lot of young talent and a lot of smaller talent. It just kind of fell together this way on this tour, that we had a lot of big heavyweight wrestlers presented to us. And sometimes we see some new guys and we bring them into the fold, like Kevin Lee Davidson's one of those examples.
I've never done a tour in Canada, but I did do some stuff in Eastern Canada. I'm not a stranger, but I'm not familiar with 21 days across the road in snow. So, I feel cold. I feel very cold. I left St. Louis and it was 24 degrees and snowing, and I thought that was cold. And I got here and I was smacked in the face by some wind. So it is very cold.
You know, you got some guys that are up here trying to make a living. That's tough. For the next few years, will probably be the main focus of this company, is using people that are up here to get the experience and not worry so much about the money, because it's just not there.
I'm like the extra guy. I'm just stupid enough to do it for free.
Joining us in studio, the legendary professional wrestler Jake the Snake Roberts is here. What exactly was the thought process behind coming across Canada in the end of December and the middle of January?
Just total idiots.
Aside from very cold, how's it been so far?
It's been fabulous, man.
Yep.
People have really turned out. We've had nearly all sellouts, and it's really made me happy, man.
Tonight, Calgary Marlborough Community Association, going to be great. The CWE Live featuring, yes, the man you've heard the last 20 minutes, Jake the Snake Roberts.
We're gonna go meet the snake. The other one. That's a snake.
That's a snake. That's a snake over.
Just remember this, Mr. Snake. If you bite me, you won't get to bite one other person. Responsible for bringing. That's what I promise you at home. If it bites me, it will at least bite one more person.
Danny's the man around here. He's the guy that makes sure everything is running smoothly, and obviously he has help. I mean, you're running 21 shows in 21 days in different markets, so you're going to need a little bit of help.
The most significant challenge that they have is that they're administratively light. They don't have a front office.
Yeah, this would be the kitchen table that's never used for eating, but done for plenty of wrestling work. So.
You have Danny Duggan, who is at the front of the organization, but he's also a headline performer, so he's not in the office answering phones doing deals. It's amazing what he's been able to accomplish, operating from a cell phone in cars zigzagging across the country.
When I'm getting to a building late, because I'm usually like responding to emails, I'm getting posts up, like making sure we're connecting with media, all that other stuff. Like I'm like from the minute I wake up to go to bed, I've got shit to do. Like my phone doesn't stop.
But we encountered a blown tire at one point. We encountered a vehicle that I may have been in that ran out of gas. You're in the vehicle with the promoter, and you'd think maybe his gas gauge would work, but it doesn't. And so you're just kind of winging it on the road, and that's what happens.
Grumpy that nobody's fucking here. Yeah. You can get that for the camera if you want.
Take my hand. No, take my hand. Oh, come on.
If it's one thing guys are always asking me to politic for with Danny, it's a day off on these tours. And it's not necessarily financially feasible, especially when you have someone like Jake coming along. So this is the closest thing to a day off we're gonna get. So I think a lot of the guys enjoy that.
Hey, there's AJ.
For me to wake up at 10 in the morning, it's a pretty big deal. I'm just saying. We go all the way from the prairies to the mountains, and you get to kind of see the different scenery and drive through it and whatnot. But I wish personally we had more time to be able to stop and smell the roses, so to speak. Well, Danny tore his pectoral muscle and his bicep heads. He still tried to wrestle a little bit afterwards, but I don't think that was doing him any favors.
So the MRI results came back not good. So I'm gonna have to get on a plane and fly home to meet with a surgeon and schedule an immediate surgery. So it's unfortunate. It's something I've never had to do before, but that's the path we're gonna have to go down. I don't know which day I'll be returning on the tour.
With Danny gone now, guys such as myself, Travis Cole, and Tony Casino, the three of us have kind of teamed together to make sure that everything's running smoothly while the man, so to speak, is not here. But you're the champ. So I feel like you got this, brother.
I feel like I got something.
Brother.
I'm just a small part of the whole machine that what this has turned into. We've got a broken weld. I need to text Danny right now, let him know.
At this point, everybody knows what needs to be done, and if you see something that's not being done, we just don't stand around. If you have that dead time, that's when you throw some chairs on, or in this case, where I have Bob helping me set this merch up here. By now, at this point, everyone kind of knows how things need to be done.
It's not a wrestling trip without some sort of mishap or something happening.
They'll put that curse on us.
It's hard to try and getting the guys up in the morning, get them motivated, get them to the venue on time. That's why I leave like 2-3 hours before anybody else leaves. Just in case something happens to the ring truck. Without the ring, there's no show.
Greg's the man when it comes to taking care of all that stuff. He's the guy that's up early, getting anything we need, turnbuckles, ring needs, I mean, you name it.
It's only natural for stuff like that to happen, whether it's stuff breaking down or something getting lost or forgotten.
Promoter running out of gas in his own car.
Twice.
Oh, we gotta get going. Yeah, no. We waited until 1 o'clock to fucking leave.
Once the ring truck gets here, everybody has to bust their ass. They have to run like crazy, chicken's head cut off. The ring needs to be up, merch needs to be set up, the chairs need to be all put up, the tables need to be put up. The whole entire venue needs to be set up from scratch. We got like 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours to set things up. It got a little heated over at when we stopped for gas to fill up.
This fucking shit should have started at 10 a.m.
Calm down.
No, 10 a.m.
He wants to move, like there's no stop with that guy. So we busted our butt to get here. We're leaving as soon as the ring's all packed up, we're leaving right for Assiniboia. There is no hotels available here for us to stay at.
Well, unfortunately, we'll put more heat on the promoter. He didn't get rooms in the damn town. So luckily, we are blessed that we have people who help us out and give us a place to stay at little to no cost.
Yesterday was a rough day for me. I think I got dehydrated. I think that's what was going on. And it is extremely cold out here. I just can't believe the weather.
Brian Logan came up for the Canadian tour's first ever. He asked to be on this tour.
You have to earn your spot. You have to earn being, CWE especially is a very high demand place. Everyone wants on these tours. That's 21 days in a row of wrestling. You can't get that anywhere in the world besides WWE, maybe New Japan.
For people coming up here, yeah, it sounds fantastic because there's no place else to tour anymore.
The conditions up here are extreme. You know what I mean? It was minus 50 degrees Celsius at one point. As the tour went on, he would go out, work his match, and he'd come back after 5-7 minutes. You know what I mean? And it'd be like, well, hey man, you went 5 minutes, what happened? Oh, what, really? He's like, oh man, it just felt like time to take it home. Like, it wasn't time to take it home, man. It was not time to end the match. Next thing you know, he's flying home and he's no longer doing the tour.
I know it's just being Canada. I want to make an official statement. I have left the Canadian tour for CWE.
Wasn't happy about some of the accommodations in the hotels, felt he was maybe above some of the places we stayed in.
He was an old guy who just felt like he was above it all.
The hotel room was in the middle of the hood, and there was literally drug deals going on in the street up the alley beside it. The heat there was very subpar.
We don't need people like that on these tours. That's the last thing we need is somebody who thinks that they're bigger than the tour, bigger than CWE, bigger than wrestling. Take a hike then.
I mean, you're a guy from Tennessee, and I mean, Chase is sitting here laughing because he's from Tennessee as well, but he's still here. So to his credit,
AJ told me yesterday when you commit to 21 days, you commit to 21 days, not 7.5.
Let's go, Assiniboia.
But it's really cool to be able to come back home, wrestle in front of friends and family. They hadn't seen wrestling down here in 20 years probably.
Go, Mark, this kid. Oh!
Give back to the community that helped raise me and give them entertainment that they aren't going to see because there isn't a whole lot of stuff that goes on down here. Last time I was down here, my 95-year-old grandma watched me wrestle one of my matches. That was a really cool moment being able to have her actually watch me wrestle.
I took my dad to go see Jake the Snake because my dad had battled demons all his life, and Jake changed his life. So I thought I'd go say thanks to Jake the Snake for helping my dad.
Anything that I can do to help somebody with their battle with addiction or drug abuse, I'm there for it. And I just tell them my experience. You know, I don't tell them this is a way to do it because everybody's different. You know, the main thing that I tell them is don't ever give up trying. Don't give up trying. I just went out there and started to talk, and the next thing I know, I've gone 15, 20 minutes. But there were some people in that audience that needed to hear that.
I've been waiting for this my whole life. Thank you so much.
Today I was waiting at my restaurant, and Jake the Snake actually came in, and he told me he was wrestling in Vernon tonight, so I would come and see him.
I know everything. I know all the finishers. I know all the names. I know all the intro music. I just know so much shit about the wrestlers, man.
I've been in the ring with WWE Hall of Famers like Jake the Snake last night, and never did I think I was going to be one of the guys being able to have the snake poured on me.
One, two. Shut your mouth, farmer.
First, I started out just trying to help them out gathering sponsors in the Mooseman market. Part of me helping out, I asked him if I could maybe come to Winnipeg, check out the training. And they said, yeah.
Now fix that corner, now fix that corner.
I probably should have done this 20-some years ago, but I'd like to be the oldest rookie ever to debut for Danny's promotion. You're never too old to try something new. Kevin Lee Davidson, he's going to be the next big thing.
You walk into the room and people look at you immediately, you know, 6'4", 350 pounds. Yeah, you stand out, you know, so people, who's that guy?
He's too big, and he's too good, and he's too nice of a guy outside of the ring to be on this level forever. He's got to go somewhere.
At first I was definitely like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? You know, 21 days in a row, 0 days off, but once you get in the flow of things, you know, it just kind of starts moving, man. It's -30 and snowing and sleeting, and it's just a nightmare. I'm like, oh my God, how am I gonna do this? You know, and you're loading in the ring, and your eyes are freezing up, and your lips are just chapped nonstop, and you can't feel your fingers and your toes. Like, it takes a little mental toll after a bit. Like, oh my God, this is cold. You know, like, it's just brutal.
Fuck this cold.
I was told I'd be riding with Jake the Snake Roberts the entire tour. I was like, oh, cool. So when I was originally booked, I had no idea he was even on the tour, much less that I'd be riding with him the entire tour. So I love the fact that he takes the time to watch my match every night.
You know, when I started coming up here, I think they were 5 days. The tour was 5 days. And then they just kept getting bigger, 7, 10. I go home for a day and then I'm back in Japan. You know, and then we're supposed to be home a couple weeks, into Australia. A couple weeks, back to Japan. Like, it's just constantly, you know, and this is what I live out of. Most of the time, I do not change what's in the bag, just laundry and put it right back in.
Hey, where's everybody else?
We're all too hungover today. We had a sponsor after party last night. It might seem like a bit of a cop-out, but it's you gotta hang out and you gotta be there and you gotta have a few drinks and you gotta socialize and make sure the sponsor's happy. Being on the road, I'm not eating properly, I'm not sleeping properly. Every day that I weigh myself, I'm losing weight, which is not, for me, is not good. For some people that might be good, but for me, it's I want to gain weight. So when I look at the scale and I see myself going down as the tour goes on, I can't be missing days at the gym for any reason. When I started wrestling, I was probably 220, and right now I'm about 275. And I would like, my ultimate goal is to be about 290, while I'm not a big, fat, crappy 290.
Stampede Wrestling alumnus
Red Thunder is in the house tonight.
Like I wrestled for them in Winnipeg a few years back, and yeah, I came to see the guys. He's your partner, and well, the brotherhood is it's like you bond with these guys, right? Once you get to know them, they look after you. Because when I went over there, I wasn't sure, I didn't know anybody, and then as soon as I got there, they took care of me. I'm trying to get booked back with CWE. I'm trying to go back to Winnipeg. Okay. Yeah, because I miss the guys. I miss the fans. They respond to me, and I love it over there.
T-shirts, pictures, DVDs, wrestling dolls. Come on. I know you all aren't in line for Jake.
There's very, very similar aspects to the carnival and to what we do. Some people have trouble selling their stuff, not me. All gone before I could even get over here, you know what I mean? So. Wrestling dates all the way back to the carnival days. They come back, boom, 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 bip, 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 bip. Eventually we get to the corner with the 450 spot.
Wrestling is such an overlooked part of like pop culture and history, I find, as a whole. Speak our own language, that do our own things, that live by our own code. There is a code in wrestling that we don't necessarily share with the outside public.
I don't think it should be fucking exposed. Everybody knows how the magic's done. They just want to believe a little bit of something.
It's been a good tour so far. And now that we have the good news that Danny's going to be coming back without that surgery,
I was supposed to undergo surgery Friday, but I met with the surgeon and he said the MRI was way worse than what my body actually looked like. Well, he was confident that if I'm just easy on it and I avoid some certain movements in the gym, that being in the peak physical condition I'm in, it could heal on its own without having to do the surgery, which would put me out 3 to 4 months bare minimum.
Regina's always been one of my favorite wrestling cities, and I'm glad we got our foot in the ground here.
Obviously happy to have him back because now he can take that leadership role. I think he's a dumbass for getting in the ring with, all the things wrong with his body right now. But we're going to work hard to protect him and make sure that nobody's getting seriously hurt because that's the name of the game.
Every time you grab it, I'll try to pull away, which will leave me open somewhere else. I know I'm in there with somebody who can take care of me, so I should be okay. I probably shouldn't be in the ring wrestling, but this is what we do. So taping it up and off we go.
But the guy that hurt me was trying to end my career, and that guy is AJ Sanchez.
Bad idea, man.
Some people may think what you're doing right now is very commendable, very respectable. But as far as I'm concerned, you're just like these people. You're a dumbass.
There's pressure on every guy that gets in the ring in general because what a lot of people don't realize is that we're working together. We're trying to protect each other regardless. There's an extra added pressure with a guy like Danny who is dealing with his injury and dealing with what he is. It's also a compliment to me that knowing that in the state that he's in, he would pick to work with me, knowing that I'm going to be able to protect him and make sure that he's able to get to the next town. For Jake the Snake, he said that we should change the match around a little bit, not so much focus on the injury, but focus on trying to get to the injury. The match this time around focused on me trying to get to his arm, ultimately getting to it, and that being the demise. That's the story we were trying to tell in this match tonight.
Our special guest at this time.
Our ring announcer didn't show up tonight. He's been booked for a while, so luckily Scarlett was along for the ride today and came down to enjoy the show, so she's bailing us out and doing a great job.
I'm from Kelowna originally, BC. I am a wrestler up there. I was sitting in the crowd hoping to enjoy a show for once, but it's all good.
There's a saying that if you're in the professional wrestling business and you plan on attending, even if it's just to say hello, you should probably bring your wrestling gear because you're more than likely going to need it. The Regina debacle will go down in history as one of my most memorable media mishaps, so to speak.
I believe Jake actually has a 6-hour drive because with the Regina show being on a Saturday, he's doing all his media for the show tomorrow during the day, all the breakfast shows and all that stuff.
Thinking everything's smooth sailing, I touched base with the guys as they were leaving Medicine Hat and driving overnight. Simple enough, they get to Regina, they go to the TV station and business as usual. Tony and Jake Roberts ended up at the opposing television station in town that we were supposed to have a morning show interview on, and the local wrestler that was supposed to be on with Jake was at the other one.
And here he is joining us this morning. Thank you for being here.
I just knocked on the door and some people let me in. It was really nice. No, I don't like being sent to the wrong place. I get aggravated. At 6 o'clock in the morning, you've had 2 hours sleep, and you really don't like this bullshit. Yeah, I get pissed off. I don't hold a grudge.
Luckily, because Jake Roberts holds so much name power within the world of wrestling and just pop culture in general, they accommodated him and got him on the station.
It's basically happened before, you know, where somebody just had the opportunity to get me on air, where they just scratch whatever they were doing and wipe it all off and say, we're putting you on it. You go as long as you want. We'll take it from there.
We're probably not going to be invited back anytime soon, if ever, to that one station for Jake not making his appearance there.
Don't do this at home, kids.
Oh, so got into a bit of a work accident. In 2015, I got into a very serious car accident. It was a head-on collision. I fractured my hip, shattered my pelvis, broke my left hand, my left wrist, and peeled off an eyelid, broke a nose, and stuff like that. So very banged up. To this day, I have steel and pins in my wrist. I have steel and pins in my hip. The scar here, I'm sure you can see, is, you know, took a little work to fix up the eyelid because it was peeled back. And it was wrestling that motivated me. So when I thought I wasn't going to wrestle again, I couldn't just end it that way. That didn't feel right. So I was off for a little over a year. I gave it a test, and I tried. I did some shows for another company out in Alberta for the first time when I came back, and things held up. I mean, I was able to do things that I still could, and there was no issue. So you just keep going.
Next couple days is gonna be a real test of how this tour does, because the Westman swing of things is typically the slower end on business.
The drives get shorter. Today was just 2 hours. So we're able to stay in until checkout time and get here and check right into the hotel.
If we can coast through the next couple days and see an increase like we have in every other market, we're set, but this will be a true testament to the tour over the next 4 or 5 days, because we typically see smaller crowds in some of these markets.
Just to review, we'll go to period 5 class, please and thank you.
Let's go show the kids why you finish high school and make good life decisions.
Being a professional wrestler and being in the public light, I feel we have the power to leave a positive impression.
We're thrilled that you're here. Cyberbullying, your message is so very, very important, and especially at this time in the world.
My name is Danny. I wrestle as Hotshot Danny Duggan. I am from Winnipeg, and I have been wrestling for 15 years.
My name is Tony. I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I've been wrestling almost 21 years. And in addition to being a wrestler, I'm in the process of finishing my degree to become a teacher. Strange enough, and you know, you can see the difference between me and Tyler. I've had the issues of bullying my entire life, and in a way it led me to wrestling because the bullying made me feel so bad I felt like I had to do something. I'm here to tell you that you can take that and turn it into a huge positive into your life. Think about that, because I have. So when I wanted to wrestle professionally, they made it extra difficult for me when I was training. And I just made sure, because I knew I had an uphill battle, that I was the first one to get up, and I never complained. You can take that bad feeling that being bullied might give you and turn it into a huge positive. And I'm living proof of that. I'm the junior heavyweight champion of Canada, and have been off and on for 15 years.
I can run and go and get you some coffee, man. What do you take?
Coffee will help. This is so nice and balm me out. I thought we were through with this cold weather. Indeed, we're not.
The bigger the tours get, the harder it's going to get these headliners, at least the legend headliners. I can tell you, since we started doing these 3-week tours, I've had, maybe half a dozen, maybe 10 guys flat out declined that would come and do 1, 2, or 3 shows, but they're not going on the road for a week, never mind 3.
I'm in Manitoba, eh?
In North America, there's no tours like that. So that's very attractive. But then you get here and realize, oh man, this is going to be a hard slog.
Just signing. I'm up here for the same people you're coming up here with Duggan, Danny Duggan.
It's not a 3-hour drive to the next town and we're going to do the next match. No, you're talking about 8, 12, 20-hour drives.
All right, there you go. Pick your favorite, man.
Terrific. Great seeing you, man.
Take care of yourself.
Yes, you do.
The Winnipeg shows are a big show for us, and the Rumble's a big show.
I booked the 50-man Rumble to remember driving in the car with AJ.
we just get in the car and we start talking.
I'm also trying to like run a bigger tour next time.
We have the unfortunate duty of figuring out a locker room for a 50-man Rumble. That's 50 men that all need to get changed into their wrestling gear. Half of them probably haven't worn it in years. We got to kind of make do with what we got. So I don't know that we're going to get 50. You want to come in and take a look? We're going to make it work.
We had a problem with the weld on the sides of the ring. One of the brackets let go the weld on it, and it's not safe. It has gotten progressively worse, so we knew we had to get it done.
I'm helping them out. It came through a friend of a friend and family members, so no big deal.
Teamwork, that's what it takes. You know, one guy finds the number, the other guy phones, makes the contact, gets them out here, and away we go.
No charge. I already made some money today. I'm helping them out. Oh, tickets if I could.
How many would you like?
2 if I could.
The 50-man Rumble to remember is a big deal because it's an attraction special to CWE.
The winner gets a CWE championship match. So the match itself has a very high level of importance.
I got the phone call from Danny saying he's running late. I will chat with each guy individually just about what we're doing in their matches and Rumble and whatever. I'm filling in the guys on what they need to do as far as the Rumble goes. Show day gets very, very hectic, especially when you're dealing with 50 guys, 50 plus, because there's other guys and personnel on the show. So I'm just relaying the messages to what we need from everybody. And I think we're a half hour, 20 minutes from doors opening. So it's looking like it's going to be a very big crowd. Blast you from behind, you no-sell it, turn around, be omission out of the ring. Okay. Scotty Raver comes out. We need you to sell this because you're going to be the guy that knows how to get this over.
I'm going to go through this very, very quickly. If you're here, please put up your hand so I know you're here. Number 2 will be Pimp Daddy Rick Matthews. It's every 60 seconds, but some will need a little bit less or a little bit more just to make sure the spots go off without a hitch.
We are live from our hometown in Winnipeg, Manitoba. And tonight's main event is the 50-man over-the-top rope Rumble to remember.
There we go, let's do it. I'm physically exhausted right now. Like, it was a lot of work just having to protect my arm. Like, it was physically exhausting just making sure I was in the right position so I didn't get hurt further. I think I did, like just guys grabbing and yanking and things of that nature. It's tender right now, so he'll be in rough shape tomorrow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the referees have informed me that both Danny Duggan and Chase Owens' feet hit the floor at the same time. Therefore, this match is a draw. We have 2 winners of the Rumble to remember. 2 winners? That's bullshit! I was not eliminated! And as for you, Danny Duggan, you don't deserve to stand in the same ring as me.
Well, tonight we're gonna finish up the show and we're gonna go hit the after party till about 2 a.m., sleep till 6, and then get on the road for 8 hours to Thunder Bay. So the home stretch is the hardest stretch. The final run is the most brutal run, as we're finding out today, because we have that 7-hour drive, which is the longest drive on the entire trip after we've been on the road for 3 weeks.
Do you fuel up?
I haven't, no. It was a very, very long night. I got maybe about 45 minutes of sleep. Partially my fault, partially because work had to get done, and then we had to get in the car and go.
No sleep last night. Got a couple hours in the car. Here we are.
At 12 o'clock, I'm undoing 50 envelopes and redoing 50 envelopes to pay the guys and get to the after party to do it. So by the time I got there, it was almost 2 o'clock when the party was coming to an end, but the guys got to get paid. Had to take care of some guys that were coming from out of town, make sure they had a place to stay and a place to eat. And before I knew it and got home and packed my bag for this last trek, it was, 5, 6 in the morning and we had to be on the road for 7.
Running late.
I can't really wait to get home, honestly.
Hopefully the energy will be able to be turned on once we walk through the curtain. If not, I'm just gonna walk back through the curtain.
We want Jake! We want Jake! We want Jake!
We won, Jake.
Grew up with these guys, man. Let's do it again, ready? Thunder Bay is where Chase Owens and Danny Duggan, we've had a real good feud here. One of my favorite towns on the tour. You know, the fans are into it, whether they like me, whether they don't like me, and that's the kind of atmospheres that, I enjoy. You're welcome for the house.
We built this house, right?
I know we did build this house.
This is the house that Chase Owens.
This.
Thunder Bay, how we doing? And it looks like you want to be a big man and you want to fight.
Long tour. Jake, he's older, his body's beat up.
I get in the ring and I know I shouldn't do this, and I'll wind up clotheslining somebody or DDTing somebody.
DDT's probably a rough bump on him, so tonight, that wasn't the plan, to finish with the DDT. The crowd, somebody, DDT, I get on the microphone.
Shut up! There is no DDTs happening tonight.
So I kind of worked the crowd into making Jake DDT, because, they're calling for it. So if he doesn't do it, they leave disappointed. Tower rolls me in, Jake grabs me. It's supposed to be his short arm clothesline. Let's go for the real thing, baby. Me, oh yeah. These are the moments that just happen naturally, and and wasn't planned, but because of Thunder Bay crowd, how hot they are, how they come to have fun, Jake did it for a reason. Jake was having fun. Jake liked these people.
The last day of the tour, I'm excited about my bed when I get to it, but I'm also dreading the 15-hour drive home. So I know that's gonna be a long drive, but luckily I've got some good brothers, so to speak, in the car with me, and we'll make the most of it and have some fun.
Kind of bummed that it's my last show of the tour. I've had a blast with the boys the past 3 weeks, but fortunately got to head home, rest up for a few days, and hit the road again.
I hope I, prove to people back home that, I'm actually worth, taking a look at.
We started off with kind of a, maybe, I wouldn't say a bad attitude, but maybe not the right attitude to succeed on this tour. But he toughed it out, and I think he took advice from the right people. And even though some days may be challenging for him, I think he's come out a better wrestler and a better man for being on this tour. And I'm very impressed that he's here.
And unfortunately, I have to go home and go back to real life. Laughing and joking around with the guys, getting really good advice, hearing some old-time wrestling stories from Tony Kozina.
End of the tour is kind of bittersweet in the sense that I just got to live my dream. I'm sure a lot of guys' dreams. I got to be a professional wrestler, and that's all I did for the last 3 weeks.
Well, we're going to continue to try to keep the momentum, and that's going on a 25-day tour.
Comes across as, damn, these guys are going for it, man, and that's a good thing.
But nobody else does what CWE does, and that's for good reason. It's a lot of work.